Yeah. Yeah. Terence Bud Crawford. Y'all know I had to go live on this one. I had to go live, man. No recording video or none of that, man. I had to go live. Terence Bud Crawford officially retires from boxing. Shout out to Aquia. She's the first one to hit me, told me showed me the video Crawford had just posted. It's a little short video on Instagram, basically showing his retirement, quick short film of his career. Man, out of the blue, man. Busy boxing week, by the way, too. A lot of fights. You got Jake Paul, Anthony Joshua, but you got a lot of little fights in between. And I'm yet to do content on. In fact, I was supposed to do some on another fight tonight. But so much to talk about, man. I'm very happy for this man. I'm really happy. I mean, there's a few things that, a few requests that I wanted, but we got to go through. We got to peel this, you know, this leaf by leaf. We got to break this down tonight, And I wanted to do it live because I wanted to see y'all reactions to it as well. I'll probably even open up the panel later because I want everybody just to give me their take. On everything. Shout out to everybody here. Please, if you're new, subscribe to the channel. Please, everybody hit the thumbs up, man. Hit the thumbs up. Everybody that's watching, everybody's in the comments. I see you guys in there. Everybody in there, man. DJ Luther, shout out to Roland Curtis, shout out to you, Mr. Tom, DJ Say So, Free Hollywood was good, Boston A1. All right, shout out to Philly Trees was good. Shout out to everyone that's there. Please, everybody hit the thumbs up. All right, let's talk about it. Terence Crawford announces his retirement. And this is something that we talked about after he beat Canelo. He's 38 years old. I mean, everything, you know, I don't feel like anyone retires perfect. No one has a perfect career. There are people that have much better careers more than others. But Terence Crawford, if anybody had a nearly perfect career, yeah, we can wish certain things. We can wish certain fights happen. We could wish that, certain things in his career could have happened earlier in his career. We can wish on things or fights that we still wanted to see. But to me, I mean, man, this is the way you do it. You accomplish so much and then leave the game. You didn't let the game retire you. You retired from the game. You did not, let me repeat that. You did not let the game, this boxing game, retire you. You retired from the game. You made your money. You're coming off your biggest win. You were coming off, you're coming off your biggest win. You're coming off your biggest purse. You are a 5-division champion, 3-division undisputed champion in the 4-belt era. You know how hard that is to do? You know how hard and how difficult that is to do? Because it's bad enough that we got too many belts, right? It's bad enough that people duck, politics play a role in the sport, all of this stuff, right? There's so many things that can block you. A side, B side, we heard all of that. We've been through all of that. Your own promoter, we're talking about Bob Arum. Your own promoter didn't want you in there with his biggest name fighter and one of the all-time greats himself, Manny Pacquiao. There's so many things that block this man from becoming great early or being viewed as an ATG earlier in his career. But he found a way to get there. And shout out to everyone that was a part of his journey, Bo Mack and that whole team with Crawford, Turkey Al-Sheikh for coming into the game and allowing these fights to happen. These things would have never happened. Turkey played a big part of his career, of Usyk career, of Beterbiev and Bivol. All of these fighters, like if it wasn't for this man, we would have never seen some of these fights. The sanctioning bodies didn't want it. The promoters didn't want it. And this guy came in the game and gave great opportunities to so many fighters. and nothing's perfect. Yeah, there's fights in there, there's politics at play and stuff like that. But salute to Terence Crawford, because when he was given the opportunity, he did what he had to do. Not everybody gets this opportunity. And when they do get it, the few that do get it, they fold on that opportunity. And this man did exactly what he needed to do on the biggest, the highest stage. He did it at the highest stage. Okay. They made it to Netflix. Netflix is bigger than everything. The Zone is huge. Right? Saudi Arabia is huge. But Netflix, to get to that stage and have the fight of the century, going up 2 divisions, a fight that even at one point Bud thought it was ridiculous. Bud at one point thought this 2-weight jump was too much. He had just got the 54. And at some point, somebody convinced him, he convinced himself that he could do it. And he went in there and there was no robbery, no politics or nothing. He won the fight. In fact, most people think he won it even wider than the scorecards that we got, the 115, 113 scorecards. All right, Maker, thank you for the donation. Let me cook for a second. All right, I got you. This man, not too many people can do what this man just did, especially at the time that we in. These guys, a lot of these guys, they're fighters, but they're playing it safe. They're overpricing themselves. They're failing drug tests left and right. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about how these guys, everybody was talking about going to 160 and becoming undisputed. Janovic popped. You're gonna risk and you're gonna risk your career over guys that is not even clean? Nah, he did it. He didn't fail no drug tests. Okay, he didn't burn his career off uh getting in trouble with the law and drugs and alcohol and running around in the streets. He didn't do none of that shit. He kept it clean. We talking about a guy that got shot in the head and drove himself to the hospital. That was a sign there. That was a sign there. The man got shot in the head and drove himself to the hospital. Every time I see this guy on Instagram and on social media, what is he doing? Fighting somebody, wrestling somebody in the gym, doing some dumb shit, challenging somebody. He's either wrestling with someone, he's either fighting with someone, you know, he's either beating them in basketball. The guy is a complete competitor. He's competes in everything. He's got to be, I said this before on a live, this guy got to be the most annoying friend to have because he thinks he can win in everything. Those were all the key signs. Those are the signs. Shout out to everybody that was here throughout this process. I've been on this channel for a very long time. I've been on this channel so long that I did a breakdown for Crawford against Usyk Gamboa. That's how long I've been on here. I've been doing breakdowns for his fight since that many years ago. Right? Shout out to the people that was here then, and shout out to the people that came after, you know. But the Usyk Gamboa fight was in 2014. That was the first time I did a breakdown. The first time most of us really noticed him is when he beat Breeders Prescott. I think his first title fight was Ricky Burns down at 135. And when people bring up Ricky Burns, when he brought up Ricky Burns to Canelo and Shaq and everybody on that panel that day, they were like, "Who's that? Who's that? You ain't fight nobody. All those guys at 135, you ain't fight nobody. Gamboa was too small. All those guys at 140, they weren't a big enough name. All those guys at 147, they were washed up. Kell Brook, Amir Khan, they were all washed up. Sean Porter, he didn't even try. Yada yada yada. All the excuse, everything. People did everything in their power to try to downplay this guy's accomplishments, and he kept pushing on over and over again. He kept doing it over and over again. And if you guys are just showing up, please smash the back like button. And if you're showing up, play this back later. That's why I went live, because a lot of stuff needed to be said. All those guys that was talking, shout out to Counter. What's up, Kurt? I see you. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Everybody that was half the people that was trying to dismiss what he did leading up to Spence are now backing him. And then when he beat Canelo, people couldn't say anything. There was nothing people could say. Yeah, you had a few people here and there. Canelo's washed up. Yeah, there's people that's going to try to downplay his accomplishments for forever. But you know what? The guy did what he had to do, and he got out of the game before he was forced to retire. You know what I'm saying? He came off his biggest purse, like I said, biggest purse, biggest win. You know, making history too. Three division in the 4-belt era. You know how many great all-time great fighters that was never able to do anything like that? You know how hard that is to do? Especially when you're being ducked by so many. Man, man. What's up, Maker? Thank you. Appreciate you for leaving this donation, man. So just taking a moment to give flowers to Bud and appreciating you, Wade, for covering one of the greatest. Thank you. I appreciate that. And I'm honored to be able to even be here at the time that this all went down and covering it year by year, giving you guys breakdown after breakdown on this man and learning from him how to understand the sweet science even better by covering him, by watching what he can do on a different level from what I previously seen. He's inspired a lot of fighters from this time, but in a different way, not A side, B side stuff. Okay. But he's inspired people how to be an excellent technician without running while still trying to knock people out. There's not many fighters that's been able to do that, to be at the highest level technically, but still be able to try to knock people out. He influenced more fighters. Yeah, there was switchers before him, but he was the guy that people kept talking about switching. He used to come out as a righty, but we knew and we learned in that Gamboa fight that when he switched as a southpaw, he means business. Now he's playing. He was playing before, but now he means business. And he's influenced. Now I'm seeing everybody switching now. Being technically sound, be able to fight in the pocket, be able to control and neutralize his opponents with his movement and controlling distance, his timing, his speed, and doing it at a high level, even at 38 years old. While moving up, you go up a different division and you find the best fighter there, not tune-ups. Nah, I don't need a tune-up. I want the best guy, which was Canelo at the time. Madrimov, one of the best fighters at the time, not a tune-up. He wanted to go to 147 to fight Pacquiao first. He couldn't get that, so he fought the guy that just beat Manny Pacquiao instead. And people try to shit on him then continuously. I mean, I don't know what else the man had to do. And as I was driving home, preparing to do this video, listening, just thinking about what he did leading up to this point. I'm saying to myself, I'm gonna miss him, but what can I be mad at? There's nothing that I can be mad at. He did everything that I needed him to do. I mean, I would have enjoyed it. It's always a pleasure. It's always entertaining to watch the man fight. But there was nothing left for him to do. There was nothing left. There was nothing left. Could he have fought Canelo in a rematch? Yeah. Could he have tried to conquer 160? Yeah, but for what? You skipped the division to fight someone that was better than all those guys at 160. 160 is one of the weakest division in boxing. You're gonna stick around for that. You're gonna stick around for a guy that can't compete clean. You're gonna stick around for a 42-year-old Irisani Lara. You're gonna stick around for Carlos Adames, who's with PBC and should be unified with Lara. Like, what are we doing? What are we waiting for? You gonna stick around for that? Nah. You want me to fight Canelo? All right, give me $100 million. Nobody was even asking for that fight like that. When I say nobody, most people weren't. More people were talking about him fighting the winner of Janabek and Lara than fighting Canelo in a rematch. Facts. Facts. This is the best way to exit. A lot of fighters exit the game. A lot of fighters exit the game on their backs. A lot of fighters exit the game punch drunk, broke, don't have their motor skills. Everything's not right. Then they have to come back and fight in exhibitions because they need the bread. This game doesn't love you. And this is what I was thinking about in the car driving here. This game don't love you because everybody is just now loving him. It took him all these years to get the love that he's deserved. He deserved years ago. It took him this long to finally get it. It took him to risk his career by going up 2 divisions to fight someone that was more experienced than even him, to prove to everybody that he's truly the great. Say the same about Usyk, man. Usyk, get out the game. Get out the game. I mean, there's always going to be another fighter. You beat Tyson Fury twice. You beat Anthony Joshua. And I got to shout out Usyk too, just because he's one of those ones too. And these guys are like bros outside of the ring. Him and Crawford. Dude, get out the game, bro. You don't need to fight Fabio Wardley. You don't need to fight Moses Atama. You don't even need to fight Deontay Wilder. Now, if he wants to continue on, that's cool. But my man, like, you just knocked out the one guy people thought got robbed. Get out the game. This game don't love you. If people don't, if you end up getting knocked out, they're gonna go right back to hating you. They're gonna go right back to saying you were overrated all this time. Don't give them a reason. Leave the game. 5 divisions. 5 divisions. 5 divisions. 3 division undisputed. That's crazy. Smash that like button, man. Real talk. Oh, and you know what? Toast to Crawford. I had to make, I made a little drink before I went live because I wanted to toast to Crawford for everything he's done for me in this channel. A lot of you guys are here because of Terence Crawford. A lot of you guys were here when I was covering his fights live. A lot of y'all was here when I was doing the breakdowns on that guy. A lot of y'all are here, or some of you are here because you didn't really know of him before I made a video. Just like y'all was telling me a couple days ago that you guys didn't even know about Nui until I covered him in a fight. So salute to Crawford. Salute to Crawford. First video I did, Gamboa fight, watching his journey, learning from him, learning the sweet science, and just being a great influencer, doing it the right way, staying out of trouble, being an American fighter where people worldwide respect you. He didn't come, you didn't have to be super flamboyant like a lot of other guys. Nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with being flamboyant like a Floyd Mayweather or a Conor McGregor. You know what I mean? There's nothing wrong with that. You stayed as a family man. On one point, you wasn't even talking. You wasn't even doing any interviews between fights. You wasn't posting nothing on social media but your family. You didn't have to show us Ferraris, okay? You didn't have to show us how much jewelry you had or anything like that. You didn't have to do anything but show us your skills and your talent. And you kept quiet. You stayed low. I still think he's low. Yes, he's might be doing a lot of commercials now and doing sponsorships and all that. But you did it the right way. And as an American fighter, that's huge because everybody puts you. Let me put this guy. I wanted to toast, but you didn't even. You didn't even. People try to put you in a box and tell you you should talk more. I remember when Crawford wasn't even comfortable doing interviews like that. You know, he would do these interviews with the media, and he used to be kind of quiet and stuff. He used to be chill. You showed us that you didn't have to do all this other stuff that a lot, especially a lot of Black American fighters, you didn't even have to do that. You didn't have to do all that. All you had to do is beat somebody's ass in the ring. That's it. All that, what I say in the live the other day, at one point, and for a very small period, short period, sh- boxing gyms. Shout out to you, bro. See you. For a very small point, said this on a live the other day. You guys remember him and Broner were in the same division as champions at the same time for a very short period. And Broner was looked at as being the next big thing. And I'm not trying to hype up Crawford by letting Broner down. But what I'm trying to say is you didn't have to do all of that. Broner, brush my hair. Hey, Dad, hey, Pops, brush my hair. He ain't had to do all that. He ain't had to do all that. All he had to do is stay focused at the task at hand, and that's it. I wish there was things that happened. I wish there was fights he could have gotten. But you know what? That's not his story. This is his story. His story is this. He laid low. He didn't get the Danny Garcias. He didn't get the Manny Pacquiao's. He didn't get Errol earlier. He didn't get Porter early or Keith Thurman. He didn't get all those guys. But guess what? Who won at the end? Who won at the end? At the end, he got Spence. And that was just a preview of what we were going to get. And what we got later was Canelo. Canelo winning at 168. Crawford had no business being up at 168. I didn't even think he was, as much as I love him, I thought it was too much. He thought it was too much on that Power 105 interview he did. But he did it. He did it. You know? Cheers. Cheers. Cheers to Crawford. Cheers to everybody in here. Shout out to everyone that's here. Shout out to Boxing Gyms. Shout out to Kurt for Counterpunch Boxing News. You know, shout out to everyone that's in here too. There's a lot of y'all in here. Shout out to everybody. Gio, I see you. What's up? Shout out to everybody in here, bro. Because I learned a lot from this dude. I swear, like, if it wasn't for this dude, I mean, to rewatch a fight for a guy that's never been a real boxer, never been a boxer. I boxed, but I never came on here and claim all I do is love the sport. And I will sit here for hours a day learning. And I watched that guy so many fights. You guys don't know. I'll be watching these fights in slow-mo on my free time. My free time. I'll just watch a butt fight. I might watch 2, 3 rounds in a row in slow-mo, just so I can understand what he's doing in there. Him. I never met Bud. I've seen Bud. I don't know if he knew it was me. I seen him at the Hall of Fame. He had just got there on the day one ceremony, and he was walking past me, and I said, "What's up?" to him, and he looked at me, but he didn't stop or anything. He just kept moving. I don't know if he knew who I was. I don't know, but it doesn't even matter. I was there. It's actually the best boxing experience that I ever had. Uh, because I got to, I saw him. I met Sean Porter. I met Andre Ward. I met, Floyd, Shane Mosley. All of them were there. You guys remember that a couple years ago, a few years ago. A lot of my boxing stuff that I got here is from that event. So I never actually interacted with the man, but the first time I seen Bud, let's talk about it. First time I seen Bud, um, I went to a Bud Crawford fight. I told this story before. I was actually I did a video on it. I went to see Bud against Hank Lundy. All right. It was in New York. It was at the Garden, but in the theater. Right. It had really, really, really close seats. It was a gift. Someone took me out to that fight. And I was sitting next to Marcus Brown. Marcus Brown was sitting right next to me. This is how me and him became friends. That's my guy. Marcus Brown was sitting next to me, and this is when Marcus was undefeated, young guy, and we talked boxing the whole fight. So whenever I see him, you know, it's always love. You know what I mean? That's my guy. Even when he has his ups and downs, his fights, that's my guy. Um, but that's the first time I seen Bud in person. I seen him at the Hank Lundy fight, and yeah, I mean, as far as his career, the Gamboa fight, classic. I know people like to diss him and say that he was weight bullying and all that. At the end of the day, Gamboa gave him hell in those early rounds, the first 3 or 4 rounds. Gave him hell. Little Gamboa, who wasn't really past it yet. You know what I mean? It was still undefeated at the time. Gave Crawford hell those first few rounds. Classic, in my opinion. Uh, Breedis' Prescott fight was his first opportunity. It was a last minute replacement fight, and he basically schooled him, for 12 rounds or whatever amount of rounds there. He beat Ricky Burns, went to Ireland, did it. Eventually moved up, beat a bunch of good fighters at 140. And I remember I'll never forget the Victor Postal fight, because that fight there was that was the fight. That was the first time I was scared for Bud in a fight, because Postal was such a good boxer, long, rangy, and that Eastern European style, and he was just going in that fight. I thought Bud was gonna have a tough time, but he did what he had to do in that fight. Didn't get a knockout, but he did what he had to do. He dropped him, he hurt him, he did what he had to do. And that was the fight at 140. That was the fight. And then he eventually beat what's the African fighter name? I was about to say Ngannou. I'm bugging. Julius Ndango. I was gonna say Ngannou, but it's Julius Ndango. He became undisputed there. But then it was 147. This is when the Spence talk started happening, and he fought Jeff Horn. And people try to downplay that fight. But you got to understand, Jeff Horn at that time was a marked man. Everybody from PBC wanted him. Everybody wanted him. Everybody wanted him. Yes, I do think he's serious, Ralph. I do think he's serious. Everybody wanted Jeff Horn because they looked at him as food. He had beaten Manny. A lot of people don't think he did enough to win, but a lot of people felt that he was a very beatable champ. And because he beat Man, he was a name, but he wasn't the highest risk. But Bud got to him first. Why? Because it was a top rank fight. And even though he didn't get Manny, he still got Jeff Horn. And he destroyed him. And then he went on and he had these tough fights. He had the Benavidez fight was a tough fight. Benavidez was tough. And people didn't think he was all that because of fights like that. Yeah. Benavidez, Amir Khan. Fight ended stupid. Khan got hurt, and it was a weird stoppage, but the fight, whatever. But then you had the Kavaliauskas fight. Oh my God. Iggy Kavaliauskas. That guy, man. But that was probably the first fight that I seen a Bud that I felt like he took the wrong approach. Just like I felt like in the Madrimon fight, he showed them too much respect. In the Kavaliauskas fight, I thought that he wanted the knockout he was forcing a knockout. And it caused him to get hit more than we've ever seen. He got hit more in that fight than Canelo. He got hit more in that fight than Spence. He almost got knocked down. But then when he almost got knocked down, shortly after that moment, he went into a different mode and he beat the hell out of that guy. But that was the first time we seen Crawford struggle a little bit. And people took that fight and ran with it. People took the Gamboa fight because Gamboa hurt him and ran with it. And then we moved up. Kell Brook. Man, let me tell you something, because people don't remember now that he already got the win, now that Kell Brook has retired. But I'm going to tell you like this. I was scared when I saw Kell Brook pull up that week. Kell Brook physically looked like an action figure. And I said, oh, no, maybe Kell Brook might be back. I mean, the Spence loss was some years back. I rated Kell Brook very high at one point before the Triple G fight. And I ain't gonna lie, even though I picked Bud like I did with every other fight, I don't know. I was a little nervous about that. Brook looked huge. He looked huge. He looked strong. And I feel like sometimes, when a fighter appears to be washed up, they'll come at their best at a certain stage, at a certain for the right fight. They'll pull up and bring their best, even if they're not in their current prime. And I felt like Brook might have brought something. And in those first couple rounds that I gave to Brook, because I gave Brook the first 2 rounds, man, I was kind of nervous. I was like, shit, Brook is not looking bad here. But what does this guy does? He always finds a way. Whatever you're doing well in a fight, Bud at some point is he's going to use your advantages against you. And it normally starts with him switching. And once he switches, he's like, all right, now I know what you do. But now you got to deal with me fighting as a southpaw instead of fighting the other way. Now you got to deal with this. You know what I mean? Porter, tough fight. I personally believe Bud was holding back. A lot of people say Bud fought a washed up Porter. Maybe Porter wasn't at his best. Cool. Not going to argue that. But I also think that Bud fought like that was a friend. I ain't want to wash you. But once he heard from his corner that he was down on points, what did he do? He took care of business. And that was that. Got him out of there. Porter was having a good fight. And Crawford took care of business when he needed to. had a little break. David Indonesian, Black Prime. We all know what happened there. Crazy glove malfunction and whatever. But then it became Errol Spence. Errol Spence Jr. fight was my favorite time of boxing on this channel, on this platform. It was my favorite time, and I was here for a lot. I was here for Manny and Floyd Mayweather. I was here through the whole shit. Right? I was here for the whole thing. All right. But Errol Spence and Crawford, outside of, you know what I mean, maybe Fury and Wilder and maybe Joshua and Wilder, Crawford and Spence, I probably did more content on that fight than any other fight. I did breakdown. I had a breakdown video a whole year before the fight happened, just for the hell of it. I was that excited for the fight. I made my prediction a year before the fight. I called it. I pinned it in a tweet. This guy was going to get knocked out. And I know a lot of things happened. I know Spence was in an accident. Uh, I know he had an eye surgery thing with Manny Pacquiao. But man, that was the funnest moment. When I go back and think about it, not only was it my favorite live, shout out to my pops because he was here. That was my favorite live. That was my favorite live, man. No live will equal up to that live, except for Wilder and Fury 2. No live will equal up to that live. That's the only live that I watch outside of Fury and Wilder 2. Those are the only two lives that I go back and watch from time to time because we had that much. It was that crazy in here. It was that wild in here. And that's probably the fight in recent years that I watch more than any fight. Whenever I have a chill time and I want to go watch something good, I go back to that fight. As far as recent fights, I watch a lot of old school fights from time to time. Some fights before my time, some fights, when I was a kid that I remember, vaguely remember, and I go back on YouTube. But Errol Spence was the greatest domination of a top tier fighter that I had the privilege to cover. Yeah, two at the time, in my opinion, two top 5 pound for pound fighters. And to see one get dominated at that level was watching it in real time was amazing. And then the energy, moments like when he looked out in the crowd and you saw an angry Jamel Charlo, like, yo, you next. Yeah, you next. That was fire. Man, that was a good time. People try to downplay it now because Spence lost. But I could tell you before that fight, I remember reading comment after comment. Oh, you off on this one. You wrong on this one. That was a moment. That was a moment. And it turned the whole boxing community upside down. That was wild. Um, but he did it. But there was more work to do, and a lot of people wanted Boots, and I'll get to that in a minute. A lot of people wanted the Boots fight. But he moved up to 154, fought Madrimov. And then again, he has a fight where he looked human again. All right. So there was fights before that I mentioned where he wasn't as dominant as we seen him be in other fights. But when he fought Madrimov, he looked human again. Yes, he won the fight, but he looked human. He looked like, okay, maybe he's slipping a little bit, or maybe 154 is just a weight division too high. Maybe his power is not as affected up here. And that's how it looked that night. You know what I mean? I mean, he clearly won, But man, he looked like maybe fighting a Canelo would be too much. And then we got the Canelo fight. And I thought it was too much. I said, this is too much. Even if Canelo is not in his absolute prime, this might be a little too much. You know, Guy's gonna be 38. This might too much. Might be too much. And what did he do? He made it. I don't want to say out of respect for Canelo, I don't want to say he made it look easy, but I feel like he brought a whole different bag. I thought Canelo fought much better and had much more to offer than Spence did. But Crawford really showed what he can really do. He really showed his how complete of a fighter he really is. And he didn't have to run and use the entire ring for the entire fight to in order to do it. He put himself in danger while still dominating Canelo. You know, um, I seen a throw. There's a. I don't want to get this wrong. There's a clip of the fight. There's two that always go viral, or that has went viral. There's two. There's one where like it's a clean counter against Canelo, right? But Canelo, you can see that Canelo he turned with the punch. So even though it was a clean punch, it didn't have the same impact it would have if Canelo didn't turn with it. But there's a punch where I believe when Crawford shoots a straight left, then pulled back, turned it, and looped it and turned it to a hook. And I was like, yo, what the, you know what I mean? Like, yo, what was that? That was crazy. That was crazy. And at 38 years old, it took him to get this old to still show the world that he had more than what I seen up to that point. Tim Bradley, shout out to Tim Bradley. Shout out to him. He posted up their sparring session the other day. Tim always talks about it. Tim has been talking about it for years. He finally posted it the other day. Shout out to Tim to being even humble enough to even want to post that because he's a competitor himself. Like, damn. All I will say is this. I'll say that I wish we had more time. I had a lot of time. I had more than enough time because I've been watching the guy fight for a while. But I wish now that he's reached this level to where most people view him as like the best of this time, whether you got him or Usyk, I wish to see him continue at this stage now that everybody respect him and love him and is giving him his flowers. I would have loved to see him fight while being recognized as the best. But at the same time, being that I've been watching him for so long, and there's not any really like any fights that I really felt like he needed to do before retirement, I'm good on him retirement. I'm good on him retiring. I'm good with him on retiring. Like I said earlier, I would love to see the Boots fight. I would have loved to see that fight. I would have loved for him to go to 160 and do it again at another division. But outside of that, it's really not much there. It's really not much there. Like, even with Boots, right? Because I really like Boots and I really want to see that fight, right? But even with Boots, I'm still unsure how I really feel about him. I'm still like, I know he's good, but I want him to take a huge risk. And he hasn't really done that for me up to this point. So as bad as I do want to see that fight, I don't want it as bad as I do with Boots and some of the other guys that's around his age and that's in his current division. For Bud to take that, it's not something I feel like he has to do. You know, Spence was it. Canelo was it for me. I don't think any of these other fights is like a must do, you know? And if there is any other fights, I think that would be the only one. I don't think there's really any other fights. Um, when Floyd left the game, there was always people that I wanted him to fight. There was plenty of people I wanted him to fight at some point. You know what I mean? Um, even with Andre Ward, when he retired, I was kind of mad because I just wanted him to get that undisputed fight with Adonis Stevenson at the time. You know, um, he left the game as one of the best that was actively boxing for sure. But it's just I wanted that fight too. When he beat Kovalev, there was questions, but not even fighting Adonis Stevenson. I was like, oh man, I wish I at least got that because Adonis Southpaw, huge power, dangerous fight. Adonis was still in his prime. You know, when it comes to Canelo, I don't think it's realistic to think he's going to retire with a loss. So I'm expecting him to fight someone, you know, um, and go out with a win. But there's not much for him to do. Same thing with Usyk. There's nothing I think he needs to do, period. You know, his legacy is solidified. Canelo's legacy is solidified. Inouye's a little younger, and there are two guys that people always talk about him fighting. And those guys are very accomplished too. Nakatani and Bam Rodriguez. Nakatani is a must. Bam Rodriguez, depending on how much he does into that fight, would be a potential super fight. But you can make the argument, and I see this all the time. I personally would have loved to see Nakatani and Bam fight each other, and the winner of that fight Inoue. I am not, and you guys know this if you heard me talk about it before, I am not in for the whole 126 to 130 move up. Nah, 126, those guys don't even unify up there. Leave them alone. Let them sit up there. 126 is only worth it if you're actually fighting for undisputed on your first fight up, like Bud did when he moved up. Those guys are way bigger than you. If you're gonna do it, make it worth it for you. Don't let these guys that are just doing the bare minimum of holding on to their title. They're not taking any risk. They're not fighting in multiple divisions. They're not unifying. They're not doing nothing. But these guys, Nakatani, Bam Rodriguez, I want to see them. So even though Naoya Inoue is gonna go down as an old time grade two, there's still mega fights there. Um, but Crawford, this is perfect. This is the close to being perfect. If I can only bring up one fighter and a fighter, and that's Boots Ennis, and that's a fighter that I'm still waiting to see what he can really do, then I'm gonna say the retirement now is the right time. And that's it. That's it. That's all I can really say, you know. Shout out to everyone that's here, man. It's a lot of y'all in the chat. Um, that's all I really, really, really have to say about Crawford. I think in this nearly an hour of me talking, I think I brought up everything I needed to bring up about Crawford and him going and leaving the game. I think it's a perfect exit, and you left your mark, and people are putting you up there with the very, very best of the sport, the very, very elite of all time, not just your time. And I think that's a great way to exit. You know what I mean? Everything else at this point is just, you know, based on what you like, But I think he made his mark, and he made a lot of money doing it. And he has more than enough, from what I hear, he has more than enough investments in the sport to not need to fight. You don't need to do it, you know? Yeah. Um, Post a link if anybody wanted to join, hit the link in the chat. And if you want to give a few words and just let me know, whatever you want to say. If anybody wants to join up, uh the chat is open, and join up. Um where does the sport go for him? Well, I don't think this really changes anything, for the rest of the sport. I think that, Bud retires. The belts are going to be available, which is great for the other fighters at the division. I don't think 168 is the strongest division, but it's not the weakest neither. You know, there's a lot of guys there that still needs to, excuse me, prove themselves um, at the division. You still got guys like, I know Canelo's going to come back at some point. I don't think he's going to leave the game with a loss. And you got Hamza and Iglesias and Pacheco and all those guys. DJ, what's up, man? Yo, you hear me? You there? I think you're really behind. You might have to like fresh your YouTube. I think you might be really, really behind.
All right, bet.
Yeah, just refresh it and come back. Um, yeah, anybody want to chat? Come up. No, I texted my dad as I was trying to get home as quickly as I could. Um, because I was on my way here, and I texted and let him know. Because I don't think he knew. But he'll be here. I'll be on Friday live. I'm actually gonna go to his house. I'll be on his house. We're actually gonna be celebrating Christmas a little early. So I'll be up there Friday, Saturday, and we'll be he'll show he'll say what he need to say about that when he gets on the live. But yeah, he knows about it, but I haven't actually spoken to him about it, but he knows. Uh DJ says Prime Thurman against Bud would have been fire. Yeah. There would have never been a opportunity for that though, because Keith in and out the game, a lot of injuries. It just would have never went down the right time, and a lot of these fights are never going to be the perfect time, but um Keith Thurman, at that time when Bud entered the division, it was really Porter's and Spence's time, where Thurman was still big, but it's just he would not fight for 2 years at a time. You know what I mean? Um, yeah. So I mean, as far as fights that I wanted to see, I would say that if I could name like 5 fighters that I really wanted to see Bud to fight face at one point, because there's always going to be some. No order, no particular order. I would say Boots, I already said Boots. Thurman, Pacquiao, Adrian Broner. Adrian Broner at 135 while they're both undefeated. In fact, I'm going to put that ahead of Boots. I'm going to put that in my number one, even though I'm not ranking them. If you can have me, if in any point in Bud's career that he could have fought someone, I'm going to put Broner at 135 as number one. Because Broner was undefeated at that time. And I feel like Broner was his best at 135. Facts. He was his best there. So I'm going to say Broner, Boots, Thurman, Jamel Charlo at 54, and Jamel Charlo, Pacquiao. I'm going to say those guys. Yo, hi MD1.
What's up, Wave? You can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, man. I wanted to chime in. This is a somber moment for both of us. We've been watching Crawford feel like our whole lives, man. Um, I wanted to just say something to you real quick. When can you hear me?
Yeah, I
I
hear you
can't hear
clear.
you.
I hear
All
you
right, I
clear.
just want to be clear. I just want to be clear. All right, when Victor Ortiz was fighting Floyd Mayweather, that particular fight, um, I had a fight party, everybody at my house and everything. And I told my best friend at that fight party, I said, yo, if you look in the stands, like the second or third row was Andre Ward watching the fight. He was at the fight. I said, that guy right there is the second best fighter in the world, Andre Ward. It's not Manny Pacquiao, it's not whoever you think is Andre Ward. And sure enough, Floyd ended up retiring. Andre Ward took the mantle. Andre Ward did his thing, was a monster. And I said the second best fighter now is Terence Crawford. Terence Crawford, Andre Ward retired 32, Rock Nation and all that stuff. And then now Terence Crawford took the mantle, and I've been rocking with Terence Crawford ever since. So now Terence Crawford is retired, which is devastating to me, even though I'm happy he retired. I'm good with him retiring, just like you. But at the same time, now who's the next? I said, maybe Shakur, maybe Keyshawn. What do you think?
That's a good question. Um, that's a good question. I can't completely put my finger on it
Yeah,
right
it's hard
now.
now. It's
Um,
hard now.
because they're not doing it the way like Bud and Usyk do it to me. You know what I mean?
Yep, yep.
Like these two, they go straight to the target. You know what I mean? These guys, they weaving. You know what I mean? They not. I need someone to make a statement. I feel like there are certain fighters out there that if you gave them the opportunity, they would do it. I feel that way about Moses Atama. I feel like if you gave him the opportunity, he would do it. I don't think he would duck any smoke with anybody. But I have to see it. I have to see something first. You know what I mean? A lot of these other fighters, as much as I love Shakur, I look at him and I feel like he could be that one, but there's something that I'm just like, like there are certain fights where I'm just like, I think he has the ability, but I need to see it. I need the statement to be made, not a half statement. Like I thought the Cepeda was good, and I think the Tio could be that fight for me. That say, all right, this guy right here may be the best in the sport, depending on how he looks in that fight. But when I look at Floyd, and then when he beat Would he be what's the name down at 135?
Who
Oh God.
who you talking about? You talking about
Uh
like his moment? Not Emmanuel, not Chop
no,
Chop, not Emmanuel.
no, not Chop Chop.
Zab,
No, no, no. 135. 135. Now 147.
135. Okay, 135. Oh, Corrales.
Yeah. When he beat Diego Corrales and the
Yeah,
way
that was
he did it was crazy at that time. People don't realize how crazy that was at that time.
it was, it was.
You know what I'm saying? Because guy's much bigger than you. He's a pound for pound fighter too. He's a dangerous puncher, and you completely annihilated him. You know what I mean? I need something like that to happen
Yeah,
first.
you need moments. That's the
Yeah,
only problem. That's the only problem with your Moses Atama, because I like Moses Atama as well. But I believe for you to become the best or the greatest or of the era, you need the villains, you need the bad guys. And Moses
yeah,
Atama don't really have a bad guy. Where Shakur does at least have a Tiafimo. He got a Devin in the wind. He got some people, around there that he could create bad guys for him. Floyd got numerous bad guys. Floyd got De La Hoya, he got Corrales, he got
mhm,
Cotto. He even got Mosley, because you got to give Mosley the bad guy vibe because he almost knocked Floyd out. You got Floyd got Pacquiao. Floyd got numerous bad guys. Terence Crawford got Spence. He got Canelo. He got a few bad guys. If Shakur, at least he got some people around him. Um, Most of the time, we don't really got no bad guys around him. Maybe Danny Dubois,
well,
Fabio
well,
Wardley, but that's not.
well, let me say this. I need, for me, because we all got like there's an eye test, right? But the eye test is
Yeah,
very subjective. Like I
yeah, you
might
need
say,
to
like,
understand.
from what I see, this guy is the next big thing. And the eyes lie sometimes. You know what I mean? They do.
Hmm. Hmm.
So for me, when we're talking about like ATGs or generational greats, like the first few people that we think is the best, right? I need someone to take a great fighter or maybe another pound for pound fighter and completely annihilate, like make it look like him. Like, yo, I thought this fighter was gonna be like tough. Even if I picked him to win, you made it look easier than what I thought it was gonna be. You know what I mean? And even though Devin, because somebody mentioned Devin in the chat, Devin to me is one of the best in the game. But Brian Norman Jr., to me, as dangerous as he looked, you are a dangerous fighter in the weakest, the one of the weakest welterweight periods of ever. So, and I'm not trying to take anything. I'm just being realistic because I remember how we felt about that fight. I remember going back and forth or how I felt that how that fight was going to go because Brian Norman Jr. is coming off some knockouts that were crazy and all of that. But I also have to like be honest with myself. How high did I rate Brian Norman? I rated him the best welterweight at the time that this guy Boots just moved up.
Yeah, Boots left the division. I understand what you're saying. Brian
Yeah,
Norman Jr.
and
wasn't a bona fide bad guy. He wasn't a bona fide bad guy.
no, no, and
I agree with you.
I still like I like how I loved how I'm again. I'm not taking nothing away from Haney. I love the way he looked that night, but I like how he looked against Loma. I liked how he looked. I liked how he looked in other fights. I'm still before we put him in the space of like this is the guy. I'm still waiting to see someone to make it clear for me.
Yeah, I'm not putting
Yeah,
Devin in that space only because I don't see him he, I don't see him in that light. Not I give Devin his respect. We know what Devin has done, and I'm not gonna sit here and hate on Devin in no way, shape, or form. He is
Yeah,
doing what we're asking him to do, and he's doing it well. But at the same time, he's not remarkably doing it. Like
yeah,
Terence Crawford he's done it remarkably at every single obstacle that you gave him. He's done it. Even
yeah,
Andre Ward, even a Floyd, but Devin hasn't. So Shakur is my only hope really right now. I got to give it to only Shakur is the only person I could give it to, but I can't give it to him because he ain't even fought T.O. yet. T.O. would be the first obstacle that he really ever fought, to be
yeah.
honest.
And to be honest, and let me make this clear to the chat. When I say all of this, I'm not saying they're not gonna do it. They will. They could do it. When I say not yet, before I say that's the guy, I already know Usyk's a guy. I already know Bud is a guy. I already know Inue's a guy. But I'm talking about all these younger guys that's in their 20s. You know what I mean? I'm still waiting for that, like, oh, like, wow. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
you
I
know
agree.
how you felt when 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 Floyd did that to Diego Corrales, and that was the first time.
Yep.
You know how I know how I felt. People try to downplay it now, but when Floyd beat Canelo like the way he did, it was one of my earliest breakdowns on the channel. It was one of my first ones. It was one of the first ones I did. And I remember the comments of me picking Floyd for that fight. And I remember how they marketed that fight as if Canelo was D1.
Yeah, I remember that. I
Floyd was
remember that.
older. Floyd was older. Canelo was the new guy, undefeated, bigger, powerful, yada, yada, yada. Now it's like, Canelo, he had no experience yet.
I
Yeah, but,
remember
you
I
know,
remember I remember when they came to Floyd in the 24/7 and they said to him, "Oh, Canelo is packing up sparring partners, sending them home." And Floyd got upset. Like Floyd was like, "I don't give a fuck about what Canelo is doing. I could fight." And we all saw that he was telling the truth. So these are the moments that stand out where you remember who the real deal really is. We need somebody to show something, and right now we don't got nobody to really show nothing. It's upsetting that Terence Crawford is retiring because we don't really have nobody to follow him. I give a new way, I give Usyk, I give them 100% gold status, but damn, when's the next one? You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. And you know what? You know what? It's okay. I'm not rushing anything. I've been saying this about not Moses, but this kid, Abdullah Mason. You know, I seen people
Mm.
leave some comments that I was like, you know, I said in a breakdown leading up to his last fight, and I was like, people leaving comments saying that he beats all of these guys, like all of them, Shakur included, Keyshawn included, and I'm like,
No, man, that's just not
like,
reality.
it's
That's not
already,
reality.
like, what are we doing?
Abdullah, yeah, he's too green for that.
Chill. He's
He's a good
literally
fighter.
learning. We watching him. We're
Yeah, we're
watching his
watching him learn.
progress each and every fight. We are watching him
I
improve
can't.
in certain areas right now in real time. Just
Yeah, I can't
calm
agree to
down.
that. Yeah, I can't agree to that. Like, there's nobody out there besides Bam that really stands up. Bam is
Yeah, Bam
magic.
is good.
To
Bam, I'm
watch
gonna tell
him,
you, he's
man.
he's close. He Somebody asked me the other day if I mean obviously they're never gonna fight because that time has passed. But somebody asked me the other day, yo, you think Prime Chocolatito could beat Bam? And I said no.
No, no,
No, Bam
no.
is better than him already.
Yes, Bam is the complete package. He's
He-
something different. He's like a
He's
kid
different.
that's sitting in the room while greats are fighting and he absorbed everything. Bam is something special. You don't find computers like Bam Rodriguez. He is
Facts.
he is something really, really special. If you really watched the last fight he just had, what was the guy name? I can't
Um,
remember the guy's name.
Martinez.
Was Martinez? Didn't he have a funny name, the last guy? But anyway,
Uh, what's his name?
he
Damn.
had a funny name, right? Like a funny, weird little name.
Yeah, I'm bugging. I'm
Puma,
like, I'm
Puma or something like that.
Yeah.
It was
Fernando.
something
I'm
like
thinking.
that.
I'm trying to think of his next. Yeah, Puma's his nickname, but Fernando's his
Yeah,
first
Puma.
name.
Okay. But this guy, you could see Bam just like it was like a dance. It was like a musical. Like he could just avoid. It was amazing to watch Bam. He's really really good. It's gonna be hard to find a fighter that could beat him.
Yeah, it
But
wasn't. It wasn't that fight for me. It was the Estrada fight. Like
oh, it was
Estrada
the
was one
Star.
of those
Yeah,
ones.
yeah,
He's a pound for pound-ish fighter. Like
mhm,
when he did it, the way he did it, I was like, oh nah.
yeah.
And he's giving all those things like, you know, take Loma for example. You take a prime Lomachenko, right? Bam is
Hmm.
doing all of those things that Loma was doing. He's
Yeah,
literally doing it. Like all that
yeah.
angles and stepping around guys, he's doing all that shit right now.
He's doing a little bit of Terence Crawford as well. He's doing a little bit of
Facts.
everything. Like this guy is
Facts.
Bam is really good.
If people,
He's
and you know
really
what?
good.
If people stop, if people like just watch the sport for what it is and just remove race out of their fucking mind,
Yep,
excuse my
yep.
language, you're gonna see this shit. He's doing the same shit that this guy's over here doing. If we just remove what he looks like out your mind, this is
Hmm.
what he's doing. And
You're
he's
correct.
making it look easy. And he's not even taking no damage like that. And he's he's durable on top of that.
And he's making it look easy. I gotta be honest that I'm a little guilty of what you're saying right now. I'm a little guilty because I'm automatically looking for the next like black fighter, but it don't have to be the next black fighter. It could be Bam Rodriguez. It literally can be him because he's that good. I'm looking at Shakur because Shakur is just wavy when he's good with his skills and everything. But I gotta be honest. Man, man, Bam is really good, man. If you know this sport, Bam is extraordinarily good. I
Yeah.
watched him and I was like, damn,
Yeah, no,
this
he's
kid
nice.
got it all.
Yeah, he's nice.
I
Like,
think I think the problem with Bam is that he can't really jump too many weight. I think there's a ceiling on Bam. That's what it is. Like because of his weight, there's some type
yeah.
of ceiling on him. So that's why we don't want to put him all the way up there. But as far as skill set, yes, this guy is amazing.
Yeah, nah, Bam is no reason to hate on the dude.
Yeah,
It's
no,
literally
no.
and even he's another guy like, with Usyk and Inoue and Crawford. He's not a character. Like he just wants to fight. Puma doing all this stuff. Puma showed up at that presser looking like a bad guy from Streets of Rage and shit. Like, the dark shades, trying to be a bully.
Yeah, yeah,
Like he doing too much. You doing all that just to lose every round and then get stopped. Like you got
yeah.
beat up every round. And Bam
Who
wasn't even trying to like knock you out with one punch. He literally punished you round by round. It was so easy for him that it got boring because it's like you didn't even this was supposed to be the fight, a war. Nah, you made it look easy. And when you can do that, sometimes it's a gift and a curse because
you
you
won't get
lose
the
the
fight?
fans
Yeah,
because
you
you're
won't get
so
the fight.
good, you know?
Hmm.
Yeah, he's good. He's good. He's one of the ones. Yeah, he's good. He's one of those ones. I think Bivol is one of those ones too. Um,
Bivol definitely,
Bivol
definitely.
yo, that dude is good, bro. It's and people don't understand that the fact that he can look that good against better BF, well, we know the man Bivol said after the first fight, he's like, yo, this guy was hitting me so hard. It felt like my knuckles I was blocking so much. It felt like my knuckles was gonna break through the gloves. I
Mm,
believe him because we
I
saw
believe
what
him.
Better BF was doing to all these other fighters. So if you can stand in there, go 12 rounds, and still attack without having to run, and you was still getting your shots off, and you was even trading at points, which was crazy. He's one of those ones. I need these younger guys. I'm not gonna make it easy for them, as us as content creators or even boxing fans, and being critical. on the sport, we're not gonna make it easy for the next generation if we've been around and watched it for a certain period of
Exactly.
time.
Exactly.
We're
We the
not making it.
gatekeepers. Yeah, I agree with you.
I grew up
You
in the
gotta
80s.
earn it. Yeah, me too. I'm your age. We
Yeah,
you gotta earn it. You gotta earn it. You can't mention Hagler if you ain't about that life. You like you can't. You know,
facts.
yeah, Terence Crawford, you can mention Hagler because he's about that life when Terence Crawford. But with these other guys, like, no. Bivol, I give a lot of respect to because to beat Beterbiev was ridiculous. We thought Beterbiev was unbeatable. He had like a 99% KO ratio, didn't he? Didn't he?
Nah.
Like,
And people disrespect him because they don't see the skill in what he do. Is he as defensive as Bivol? Absolutely not. But his offense is his defense, and there's a science to what he do. And I learned that in the what's the kid from I forget everybody's name tonight. Kid
who,
from
Marcus
UK.
Brown? Marcus
No,
Brown.
kid from
No,
UK.
Callum Smith. Callum Smith.
No, 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 no.
No,
The fight I went to, um,
which one you
Yard,
talking about?
Yard.
Oh, Anthony
Yo,
Yard. Anthony
I'm
Yard.
like, Yard catch him with a good shot, right? And a dude would play possum, get Yard to come straight in. Yard would land his best punch in the round. Clearly have him hurt, buzzed. Beterbiev was like, then boom.
Yeah,
And this
yeah,
dude, now he hurt. He's even more hurt. You know what I mean? And it's just like, yo, this guy, you think he's just a puncher. I was
but he's
there in New
not.
York. Yo, I was
He's a
there in New York.
scientist. He's a
I was
scientist.
I was there in New York. I was here in New York when he fought Joe Smith. And I'm like, yo, I don't think Joe Smith for all that, but Joe Smith he lands, he's gonna knock you out. Like he can punch.
Yeah, he rocked
Bro,
Bivol.
Joe Smith had everybody from Long Island in the building, everybody from New York, whatever, whatever. Everybody was there to support him. Yo, he beat this man like he owed him money. Like it was sad. Like everybody was quiet in the building, bro. It was
Yeah,
crazy.
it
Like, I
was
mean, we
ridiculous.
know you're gonna win, but the way you did it, it just was like, come on. So that's why I say he's one of those ones. He don't get enough credit for his actual skills and knowing how to use his power. We all think a guy's slick defense, this, that, and the third. I'm like, okay, he doesn't bring that, but because he's so powerful and he has a great timing, these are guys that make it look easy. That's what I'm looking for the next guy up. I want to see somebody that makes someone that we think is that dude until they went in there with a real killer. That's what I
Yeah.
want to see.
So,
And
so, so my question to you is this. My question to you is this. We know who the names are, right? Who the names are out there.
mhm.
But who that we don't see that's coming up that could actually shock the world. I got one name for you at heavyweight, a name that I think can shock the world. Even though he's playing games with this amateur professional stuff. Bakadir Jalolov. I believe this man left hand is a different kind of. I believe he has a Zilly Zhang left hand, but when a better physique, better body, everything. I think this guy is the problem. I think he's the one that gives Moses the time of the problems. I believe I'm trying to. I give Bakadir Jalolov, and I'm trying to find somebody else. I'm asking you to help me find somebody else that's in the lower weights that's somewhere like that, like a Dark Knight in all of it, like a Dark Horse in all of it that you think you could pick out that's got something else going on that we don't see yet.
That's like early in the game, early, early,
Yeah,
early.
like somebody that we don't see yet that's a monster. Like we know J.O. Pataya is a monster, but he's gonna meet his match at some point
Yeah,
sooner or later. Who,
he's
who
already established too. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like
he's
not
established
established, like
exactly.
yeah.
He's the king of his weight class. Who do
Who
we
have I
not who
seen?
are we not seeing? Who are we not catching right now? That's a monster too. That's what I'm looking for. Like who's the beast out there that's sleeping?
So I was talking about this recently because he just fought.
Go ahead.
I look at Tito Mercado of how I looked at Teofimo Lopez before he fought Loma. Like I look at him
Okay.
and I say, I'm still waiting for his moment, but there's a reason why no one ever brings him up. I find it strange that, and I think probably like Tito reminds me of Tio simply because I found out about Teofimo Lopez because he was just doing random interviews talking mad trash about Loma when Loma was in his prime. And I'm like, yo, what's up with this dude? Why are you talking crazy about Loma like that? Like, yo, who is this kid? Like, why is he always in the gym talking about like I want Loma, yada yada yada? And mind you, at this time, he wasn't a champion yet. He was just knocking out some journeymen. And I feel like Tito Mercado, every time he do an interview, he's always calling out Shakur. He's always calling out Keyshawn. He only bring up the people that we already praising. But yo,
Mhm.
this guy, every time I see him fight, he's knocking out people crazy, but we don't talk about him like that for whatever reason. Like even Andy Cruz, that
Mhm.
we all know Olympic gold medal, two-time gold medal, beat Keyshawn. We knew about him already, but something about this guy that has a nearly 100% KO ratio, and for whatever reason, yo, we don't talk about him like that. Even me, I have to include myself in that.
Facts. Facts.
So
Okay.
I don't know if he is that guy, but all I know is that he's performing like he's that guy at this level at least.
Yeah.
And nobody brings him up. I'm sure there's
Nobody's
other people.
talking about.
He came to mind, and I the only reason why I remember him because I had just said this past week. I'm like, damn, not for nothing. I have been watching him for a while, but I always forget to bring him up because 135 and 140 is so crowded that I be forgetting about this dude sometime. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how I feel. I'm sure there's other people, and I don't want to sit here and say that yo he's the next dude. I still like him like everybody else. I still want to see, but like for example, he's ahead of as far as pro fights, he's probably had more pro fights than Abdullah Mason or around the same amount. Yet we never mention him. You know what I mean? We just don't, and it's not because
How many fights does he have? 20 fights?
he probably got like 17, 18 fights right now.
17, 18. Okay.
Yeah,
So he's knocking everybody out. He's making moves.
and he, you know what? He call out the right people, but when
Mhm.
no one responds to him, they're like, nah, we just not even gonna mention. We act like we're not even gonna acknowledge this dude, even though he's doing the work in the ring. You feel me?
Yeah.
Um, EK, what's up, man? You there?
Yo, what's good, man? Thanks. By the way, is this link for everyone from the chat to
Yeah,
join?
yeah, yeah. I threw it in
Okay.
the chat. Anyone can join up, man.
Respect. Man, I was shocked to see. I actually found out that Terence retired from your story on Instagram. I was like shocked because like he had like if he wasn't just money driven, like the rematch with Canelo would have been, like I really thought he was gonna like cash out even more one more time, but I think like similar. I don't know if anyone agrees with me, but similar to Khabib in UFC, he retired on his own term, on top of his game. He beat everyone that came. Like I don't remember a close fight that I
Mhm.
watched Terence. Maybe with Sean Porter as maybe the first few rounds were like back and forth, but he finished on top in every way you can, and he didn't do any shortcuts. Like, you can talk about Floyd and Canelo rehydration clauses, all these, like you can't really talk about, you can never put anything on Bud's resume, like, oh, he did this to this guy. He fought everyone on their term. He didn't. There's nothing really you can say. No controversy, no steroids on his resume. Like I'll be honest, when he was most when he was at a top rank, I really thought like Spence was the best welterweight, and I didn't think. And I just thought like him not signing with PBC, I really thought like I was really rooting for Spence, and I thought Spence was gonna win that fight. But like I think he's one of the greats of all times, Bud, because like he really, I don't know. I feel like there's nothing you can really point out. Maybe maybe you can say like quite recently like. But it's nothing boxing related. It's like with him not paying the WBC, maybe that's like something controversial in his career at the end, and he walked out. So I don't think I think he probably has one of the best careers of all time, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. Thanks for checking in, Brand. I agree with you. I started this by saying, I don't think anyone has a perfect career, because there's fights that we're all gonna always want to see, that we're not gonna see because you can't really fight everyone. You know what I mean? But there's no asterisk next to any of his wins. You know what I mean? They're all legitimate wins, and most of them are stoppages. And outside of a lot of great fighters that we had, that showed us the sweet signs and stuff like that. He did it in a way like he gave us a sweet science, but he was also trying to murder whoever he was fighting. He wanted to knock them out. Exactly. I think what's the name? Madrimov was probably the only fighter that he showed a little too much respect for. Being cautious going up to a new division. I think that was the only fighter that he probably showed a little bit too much respect. But outside of that, I mean, it's still a clear win in my eyes. And he just took a different approach, a more safe approach in that fight.
Yeah, like I think, but honestly, that fight was probably, it made the Canelo fight even more intriguing.
It did, because it gave people
perfect.
Yeah, it made people feel like, he just fought this guy. Look how he did there. 154. You go into 168 and find Canelo. I mean, it even threw me off. And again, at the end of the day, before people say anything, you got to remember, Crawford also he thought a Canelo fight at one point was a little far-fetched, And this is after the Madrimov fight. This is not before. This is after. So, people that had their doubts in it, I think it was understandable. Me personally, from a guy that does commentary and an analyzer, I thought it was too much to beat Canelo. As how a feeling that I had, I felt like Crawford would do it, but not from an analytical space. It's more like from when I look at the two, I'm like, man, I think Crawford could beat this dude.
Yeah, but the only thing I'd add, like, it's nothing to do with Crawford. Like, I think he would win. It would be a tough fight for Canelo either way. But Canelo, he was like at a stage where he wasn't even knocking on Berlanga, or he was just going like fighting. He was just like on a retirement tour, almost like he was like just fighting. I don't know, and he's not the same fighter that was knocked out Plant, that knocked out what's his name, Billy Joe Saunders. Like, I think Canelo, I think that was the Plant. I think the Plant fight was probably him at his best. Just dipping. He was starting to dip right even after that fight, in my opinion. But I think Crawford would, he was going to give Canelo like style makes fight. I think he was just like he was trouble for anyone he steps into the ring with. But I think he has I I think the only fighter really in my mind that has fought every fighter in his era is probably like Ali. Those guys, like back in those eras,
Yeah,
the golden age. Like, but like, so it's not really. I don't think you can name a fighter these days or in the last decade that like.
that fought everybody.
Yeah,
No,
I think
yeah,
Muhammad Ali was
For
like,
everybody.
you know,
Yeah, Ali is the last one that fought every
yeah,
single
and
person.
those guys
yeah.
weren't paid for it really.
Especially like we're talking like primes,
Yeah,
and to me, and in my opinion, uh, like when I watch documentaries of Ali and what people were saying before the fight with Foreman and Sonny Liston, there's two fights that he beat, two fighters. Those are two fighters that he beat that people were literally afraid for his life.
yeah,
Yeah, they're afraid he's gonna die.
Like,
yeah,
come on, bro. Like, people think people think you're gonna die,
yeah,
Both
and
both
you
fights equally. Both fights
and you
equally.
knock them both out. And this is what I mean. When we were just talking about high under one, we were just saying like, yo, give me a fight where you took a really good fighter or a great fighter and you made it look like he was nothing.
all-time great, like legendary.
And
Sonny
there's
The,
not
Liston.
too many
the
guys that
Errol
can do
Spence
that.
fight. Yeah, the Errol Spence fight is by far that's legendary right there. The
Mhm.
Errol Spence
Facts.
fight is legendary.
And I'll tell you
I
something.
know where I was at when that fight happened. I can remember where I was at, how I was screaming,
Yeah.
man, Jesus.
And I'll
Yeah.
tell y'all something. I'm
Yeah.
from my background. I'm from Pakistan, and back then, people and whenever Muhammad Ali would fight, my grandpa and my dad would tell me, people from villages would get on buses and go to the main cities, where the satellite TVs were, and this is all the way across the world, just to watch Muhammad Ali fights. And then I really laugh when Floyd Mayweather is like, no one does the numbers I do, but like, bro, Muhammad Ali was like such an iconic fighter that people from like that don't know like in like villages were like flying. I mean,
Mhm.
not flying, so getting on buses to go to the main cities in Pakistan to watch us fight. That impact, I don't think any, like maybe Cristiano
Yeah.
Ronaldo and maybe
Yeah.
football soccer players today might have, but I don't
Yeah.
think any fighter like people like. In my opinion, the best fighter is like Sugar Ray Robinson, but the most important fighter boxing has ever had is Muhammad Ali.
I
I think,
agree.
yeah, I think like there's no impact that any other fighter, no matter how great they are. Maybe like Floyd has made more money, obviously, because economy now, social media, like everything is so different. But like the impact Ali had
Yeah.
was like, so you can't even compare it.
Yo, Jay Roos, what's up? You there?
Hey, what's up, man? How you doing?
What's good with you? How you been?
I'm chilling, man. Just enjoying the show, man. Yeah, I'm shocked that Terence retired today, man.
Yeah, me too. I wasn't expecting that just pop up, and it's like I had to I had to rush home to get on the live, and then I was like, man, I got to get on live for this one. I can't even just record a video because I wanted to hear what you guys had to say.
Yo, can
Wow.
I just do one thing before I hop off? Sorry,
Yeah,
guys, to interrupt.
yeah, go ahead.
Do you? I just want to give this a talking point. Do you think Turkey or like Dana White is this like? Do you think this is some sort of like leverage tool for like him to get more more money for his final fight? And because I was watching this other YouTuber, Sean, I forget his name, and they were saying like Dana and other like TKO boxing league or whatever it's called, they probably like made a game plan of Terence not paying WBC fees. So because they're trying to like amend the Ali Act, so it's like a big. Maybe do you think there's something more? Like there might be
It could
more.
be.
Yeah,
I thought about that driving home.
yeah,
Because of his statement
yeah.
about what he did about the WBC, and he has literally everybody talking about it all week.
Hmm.
It came across my mind, you know what I mean? Even before he announced his retirement, I was already thinking like, for him to be the spokesperson and stuff, because a lot of people's reaction was like, all right, he's only saying this because Turkey You know, they're trying to do away with the sanctioning bodies, and they're trying to go into a different direction, and them amending the Muhammad Ali Act and everything. I thought about these kind of things, but you know, for me, like the one thing with Crawford, I'm not putting anything past anyone, but with the accomplishments he's had, his current age, him coming off his career win, career highest purse, I don't know if he's gonna get involved in anything that they're doing over there, you know. And maybe the statement was made just, I don't know, maybe out of good faith for them. It could have been just a statement and nothing more, you know, even if they wanting him to say that statement, he felt what he said though.
Yeah,
You
for
know what I
sure.
mean?
That was organic. Yeah.
Yeah, he felt this. I can't sit here and say like, even if you were influenced by someone in any kind of way, you meant what you said, you know, and
Mhm.
that's all I want to say about that.
Yeah.
Hey, Wave, did you check out Terence Crawford's IG? Looked like he posted a face-off with somebody, and I was trying to see who the fighter was. It was Dana White and Turkey in the middle, and him having a face-off. I'm like, who's that? Did you see that?
Nah, I've seen like his retirement posts. I'm going to his IG right now, but are you
Yeah,
talking about like today?
yeah, like his. I think it was today, like his stories. Unless I got mixed up, because I'm like, was he trolling when he said he's retiring, or I don't know. Maybe
Nah,
I got mixed up on what I
no,
saw.
no, 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 no. That video is what that's the face off with Canelo in front of the Bellagio out there in
Mhm.
That's
Vegas.
Turkey
no.
reposted that.
Yeah, that's what
Okay.
I'm looking at it right now.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Yeah, I
no,
guess I got mixed up. I was like, what's going on?
yeah. Hold on, real quick. Aircraft carrier, thank you for the donation. He said, where do you have Bud ranked all time? I mean, I don't have a personal rank like as far as all time because like I don't I would need to know everybody in order to rank an all-time ranking. You know what I mean? I could just rank people in who I'm familiar with. To me personally, I could tell you who I wouldn't rank him above. I wouldn't rank him above Muhammad Ali. Uh, just to start for starters, I just wouldn't do it. You
Mhm.
know, I wouldn't rank him in front of Jack Johnson, you know. I just wouldn't do it because the times were completely different and the circumstances was different. And I think in this time, what's hard to do is deal with like trying to collect 4 belts. All right. That's very difficult to do. But the times that they were in, I can't compare, you know.
Mhm.
It's just I like so what I like to do is rank people in their generations, and that's it. And you're great in this generation, and that's it. I can't really the sport evolves. So I can't just say like, oh, I think a lot of people may be more skilled and more talented and maybe able to beat people from the past, but the times were different. And you know, it's just like how when I have debates about this with basketball all the time when it comes to LeBron James, Jordan, Kobe, and the people before them, you know. But I like to start at Jordan's time and Magic's time because I watched them live. I can't, I can't, you know, I know these other guys, Rocky Marciano, John, you know, Joe Louis from watching documentaries. It's not the same. You had to be there to know what was going on. It's just like
Right.
me saying earlier about how people felt about Canelo before he fought Floyd when that fight was coming up versus how we look at it now after the fight is over. You know what I mean? It's even with Brian Norman, you know, on a smaller scale, Brian Norman fighting Devin Haney, the way people thought Brian Norman was like this super dangerous. People were saying that the fight. I saw it on Sean Porter's podcast. Sean Porter said himself that they didn't even think he was really serious about taking that fight. There were people that thought it was he's not really going to take the fight with Brian Norman. People were looking at it like that.
Like, why
So
would Why would that be the case when he took on Loma? Like, it makes no sense.
No, I don't know, because people think Haney is not that good, and they felt like they made a mistake by they made a miscalculation by taking this fight. And that's it. We just underestimate fighters all the time as fans. I didn't for this fight, but I have for other fights. But I don't want to sit here and talk about fighters from a time that I wasn't in, man. I just don't know. Again,
You know,
I learned from documentaries. I might be able to watch fights on YouTube, but watching documentaries, I learned like, yo, at this time, they thought they were going to kill Ali. When people say that, and multiple people say that, and when I speak to older people that was there that can tell me how people felt at this very moment, that's how I learned about them. But I
Mhm.
wasn't there to know it for myself and experience for myself. And that's all I got to
Yeah.
really say. But I do think he's the greatest of this. I do think that him and Usyk is the greatest of this generation. I think Inoue is right behind him. But that's all I can say. Like
Like,
that's all
would
I
you
can
say
say.
like Usyk is like the closest? I mean, he has a lot of
no, I said this on I don't know. I know I said it recently, but it's like a 1A and 1B for me.
Mhm.
I watched Usyk and Joshua yesterday, Usyk Joshua 2 yesterday.
Mhm.
When I watch Usyk, bro, like I really like Usyk too. Like
I
I
mean, he
can't help
beat
it.
Fury twice too, right? So it's crazy.
Dude, I like Usyk too, bro. I really
Yeah.
do. Like I love Crawford, but Usyk is that dude too, bro.
Absolutely.
I think,
Facts.
yeah, I think if for
Yeah.
in a way, it really sucks that like he doesn't have like the star power of like other fighters in his weight division, right? It's
Dude,
only
it's
him.
okay.
Yeah.
Crawford don't have the star power. He just getting it right now in 2025.
No,
It's
I'm saying
okay.
no,
It's
I'm
okay.
saying like at least Crawford had like Manny Pacquiao, like other great fighters in his weight division or around, right? To
Oh,
fight.
okay. I get what
But
you're saying.
I'm saying like no one's really famous around Inoue.
Yeah.
The heavyweights, obviously. Like Usyk has AJ, he has Wilder now. He there's so many great names to get on your resume that everyone's gonna
That,
know. But I
that's
just
to my
think
point. You need a villain. You always need a villain. You can't be great without a villain. You need a villain. If you don't have a
Facts.
villain, it's a problem.
I
You
don't
never
know
going your
'cause
greatness is never going to be realized if you don't have a villain or villains. You
I
have
don't
to
know
have
because
that.
like Usyk doesn't have a villain when he maybe
No, Usyk had numerous.
Fury is
Usyk
kind of
had
a villain in
villains.
some ways.
He had Fury. He had
Fury.
Fury. He
Yeah.
had Joshua. He
Joshua's a
even
nice
had the
guy though. You
bar.
really like
He
give
had
him
I,
the
I
all of
don't
them are
I don't
bigger and stronger than him. So
Mhm.
he had villains. Usyk had legitimate villains. You a new way don't have a villain. That's the problem with a
No,
new
but
way.
like Inoue himself is like when he fights, he's like come like he's very like he's not like a humble dude when he's fighting. He's really like showboating too. So maybe he is a
Yeah, but he's
villain.
not. But he don't have a villain to fight against.
Yeah,
He don't have a monster that's worse than him to fight against.
yeah.
Usyk
Right.
does. Terence Crawford created his villain by jumping to Canelo, and then he had Errol Spence,
Errol
obviously.
Spence, yeah, that was the biggest win.
Yeah.
I think that was
The
even
only loss with Terence Crawford, the only loss with Terence Crawford is he didn't get Keith Thurman. He got everybody else really.
he also didn't get
Who
Manny.
cares about Danny Garcia? Forget
well
Danny Garcia.
well what do you mean? Let me just make a correction. When we say villain, right? Some
Yeah,
fighters actually have a actual legitimate villain, right? Like
yeah,
for example, Floyd was always a villain
Yeah.
if we
yeah,
really
Yeah.
think about it. But I'll tell you this. I think what you're trying to say, I think you're saying one of two things. There's
yeah.
villains and there's rivals.
Right.
Yeah,
And
you know what I'm saying,
yeah, there's
Wade. You
rivals.
understand what I'm saying. Yeah, a rival,
Nakatani,
somebody, a monster, somebody to go against that's on your level.
yeah,
For every Muhammad Ali, we need a Joe Frazier. That's what I'm
yeah,
saying.
yeah,
But I
Naka,
wasn't even sorry. I wasn't even talking about a villain or a rival. I was just talking about popular names. Like
oh,
there's no one at like the name. the status of
Well,
in a way around him. Like
Usyk,
maybe Bam when
but
they fight.
Usyk beat Fury and Joshua. That's
Yeah.
you're not gonna get any more popular than that.
Yeah.
At the end of the day,
Right.
those two have sold out Wembley multiple occasions.
Yeah.
And at this point, the only thing that's left for listen, the only reason why Usyk is not going to be more popular to the casuals or just the public is because he's a Ukrainian fighter that
It
doesn't speak much English.
Yep.
You know, he's not
But
out
he
here in
feels a
America.
lot.
Huh?
He feels a lot.
Yeah. Tyson Fury was able to come to America, fight Deontay Wilder in that first fight where
Yeah, that
it was
first
a
fight was
cherry pick
crazy.
that went wrong.
Mhm.
He was a huge talker. He made himself hot from that fight with Wilder.
Exactly.
Yo,
And
I
that's
always
how
think,
it worked for him. And then it ended him leading to other fights on Top Rank ESPN here in the US.
Yeah.
It wasn't about the UK no more. Now let's make you a star here. And then when
Right.
he
You
beat
see the
Wilder,
equation, though. You see the
in-
equation. Wilder's
Yeah.
another villain. Wilder's a villain
Wilder's
for
a straight
Tyson
up
Fury.
villain. To
You
this
know?
day. Yeah.
yeah,
You see what I'm
and
saying?
they sold it
you-
and they marketed that fight
As a
as
villain,
Wilder the
Mhm.
villain because Tyson Fury, even though a lot of stuff was a lie, all this money is going to donating
yeah,
all the
charity and
money.
all of that. Yeah.
No, listen, marketing is all about marketing, man, and it worked for
Yep.
Tyson Fury, and it made him look like a good guy.
Mhm.
Until after Wilder, the Wilder trilogy was over, then we got back to talking about, okay, well, you won that, but what's good with you and Joshua? What's going on with you and Usyk? And then he became a villain again because he beat Wilder,
Yep.
but now you making all these excuses in the world to not fight Joshua and Usyk.
Yeah.
Rabbit.
Yeah.
Rabbit.
I
Fury
still-
basically created the hero in Usyk by dissing him and fighting with him. This is how villains and heroes are made. This is the
And-
sport.
yeah,
If you
and
really look at it, Usyk couldn't even speak English, and Fury made him into a character. If you really look at it, like it's crazy,
yeah,
but that's what it is.
but Usyk was also fighting for like a higher, like it made it feel like he was fighting for a higher cause, like with his country being invaded by Russia and all that. So
Yeah,
it was like a really like a play on like geopolitics, and there was like whenever Usyk fights, it's like that, and also like they were both extremely religious, both Usyk and Fury. So, but I still rather see AJ versus Wilder in the States or something than AJ versus Fury. That's just my opinion.
Mm.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, overall, I just think that as far as the next generation of guys, and I'm not including the current like I want to say, like when it comes to Crawford, now he's retiring, Usyk, even the new Bivol and Beterbiev, Bam and those guys that's in their 20s that are still making their careers. I'm still waiting for them. I can't put a stamp on anyone really. I do think Bam is you make a good argument. He's in the lead right now as far as the younger guys. You know what I mean? Because there's guys that look very promising, like Jerron Ennis to me looks promising, but it's just like it just looks like that. I gotta see you do it. You know what I mean? And they're not necessarily being ducked by everyone. You know what I mean? Like they're just kind of like, yeah, maybe there's certain people that might be avoiding you, but you guys are also avoiding people and picking and choosing when you want to fight them, and that's kind of hurting this whole who's next up debate. Because if it was Bam in the situation, Bam would have already fought some of those guys that we're still waiting to see you fight.
I agree with you 100%
Yeah.
away, because if you think about it, Boots was supposed to be the competition for Crawford, but then all of a sudden he wavered. Remember when he wavered because he's not the boogeyman of the division. He was acting like he was the boogeyman of the division, but you're not, because Crawford will fight you at the drop of a dime. But you remember when Crawford ran up on Spence, Spence said, "I'm the boogeyman." Crawford said, "You can't be the boogeyman if I'm chasing you." And that changed everything. You see what I'm saying? That changed everything. So now you gotta fight Crawford, because that's why the villain and the hero talk is so important. You gotta have that. That's a part of the mixture. If you don't have that, it's very hard to become a superhero. If you don't have the villain and the hero, Sonny Liston, George Foreman, you gotta have that. Big bad George Foreman coming to beat up Ali. You gotta have
The
that,
flag
you know?
waver. Ollie was like, "Oh, that guy's a flag waver."
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And time is gonna get there, but I'm telling you, these guys,
But those days are over, though.
these guys, and we can go so deep in this conversation, because you got guys like Lomachenko and Andy Cruz, these guys.
Tank
Like, no,
Davis.
no, no, no. I'm speaking on specific guys that were
Oh, okay.
phenomenal, 1 or 2 gold medalist champions, gold
Yep.
medalists, I mean. And then you guys started pro mid late 20s, and
Mhm.
now you have to go straight
Into
into
the fire.
a tough fight right away.
Bivol
And it
Beterbiev.
wasn't necessarily, Guillermo Rigon now, for
Mm-hmm.
example, him too. These guys, that are like Bam, especially the Mexican guys. They who's in the way fighting next week? Picasso, David Picasso.
Picasso.
A lot of these guys, him, David Benavidez, Mexican American, or some just Mexican, straight Mexican fighters. A lot of those guys go pro between the ages of 15 and 17, and they just do the pro thing. They don't even want to deal with even Canelo. Canelo started at 15.
15 years old.
People forget that he had almost the same amount of pro fights when he fought Floyd.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
Floyd was like, there was like a 14-year gap between those two.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So we got to remember too, if you are a guy that wasn't in the amateurs for so many years, you got 400, 300 fights, you gotta, like, if you're gonna go pro, you can't be waiting until you're nearly 30 by finally getting a test. You know what I mean? Like, it shouldn't be going that way. And that's what happened with Triple G. Like, the whole Triple G
You
debate
said it perfectly.
on social media has been going down as far as him being a Hall of Famer. And it's like, a lot of people are like, well, Triple G, he wasn't even in his prime by the time he fought Canelo. And I'm like, well, whose fault is that?
Right.
He
Like,
spent
whose
the most
fault?
of his years in his amateurs, just like
Yeah.
Lomachenko. He spent, but
Yeah.
look
Like,
how short Lomachenko career really was. He spent most of his best years in his amateurs.
yeah, it's not nobody's fault,
Same
but
like Triple G.
yeah, Triple G fought as an amateur for a really long time. And then, like, people are gonna get ducked, man. Like, you came in at a time at 160 where the guys that were currently there, they already had their names. You know what I mean? Sergio Martinez, Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., Cotto when he stepped in there, and Canelo was taking his time to get up there. At the end of the day, like, timing is not going to always be on your side. And even though, yeah, you might have been avoided by a few, at the end of the day, that's part of the game. And when people say he wasn't in his prime, I'm like, well, are we sure of that? Are we sure? Why are we basing that on his age alone, or are we basing that off, like, stuff that we seen prior to that big fight? You know,
Yeah.
Danny Jacobs was his first big fight, and he
Yeah,
looked
well,
human in that fight. You know what I mean? Like, he looked human there. He
that's
looked
what I'm
like,
asking you. That's what I'm asking you, Wave. I'm asking you because you just said something that was very on point. You said that Canelo had it took Canelo time to get up there, right? So what I'm asking you is this: who's the next Canelo? Who's the guy that's gonna come up and make the fight at these weight classes that we don't see? Who's the guy
Well,
that
Shakur is already doing that with Tiafimo, no?
no, I'm saying like everybody that we know that's established is established. Who's the guy that we don't see that's gonna come up and make something crazy happen, and we gonna realize, okay, this is the next big fight. You remember Triple G is running around doing his thing. Canelo is doing his thing, but Canelo moved his way up to the weight, and then we saw Triple G moving his way up to the weight, and then now they collided. What is it that we're not seeing? Somebody's coming that we don't see, and they probably around us right now. We probably know their name right now. Who's the next monster that we don't see? I said Bakadir Jalalov. That was my best pick that I could come up with. Who is it that we're missing? Who's coming up? That's a
Guys,
legitimate
I'm just gonna
question.
sorry to interrupt. I'm gonna hop off. Wave,
All right,
Boxingwave,
EK.
thank you so much for having this link up.
All
You all
right,
have a
man.
great
Thank
night.
Thank you
you,
for
EK.
checking in, man. Have a good night.
And if I go to the Tiafimo fight, hopefully you'll go to, and hopefully
Yeah. Just
Yeah,
let me know, and
probably.
I'll let you guys know as well.
All right,
Just hit
man.
me in a DM on Instagram.
All right, bro. All right, you guys have a good
Have a
night.
good night.
See you.
All
All
right, EK.
I think Caballero, as far as the heavyweights, I think he's
Oh, you
he's
think
gonna beat a lot of these guys.
No, but you're saying somebody we don't see and someone that's not
Yeah,
established yet.
I'm thinking somebody's coming up that's gonna blow up the scene. A monster. You remember we was watching Vladimir Klitschko versus Pulev. We was watching that fight. We had no idea that Anthony Joshua was on the rise, right? So
Yeah.
who's coming up that we don't see? That what do we not see? We've been watching the sport so long that we got the eye where we could actually spot
Yeah.
a few people. So who is it that we don't see that's coming up? A real monster that we don't really catch yet.
Well, you
That's an
say
interesting
we don't
question.
see. I can only base it on people that I do see.
I know it's a weird
Like
question, but
when
you
you
know what
keep
I'm
saying
saying.
you're making the question more difficult every time you ask it. And I did give you one example, but I don't know if he's gonna be a monster because I gotta wait and see what he does when he gets there, you know. Now as far as heavyweights, we obviously seen him, and I think if I could put my money on anyone, at one point it was Jared Anderson. He's not that person no more. Not saying that he can turn it around, but when I first saw Jared Anderson, I said, "Oh my God, this might be the next American top fighter." But then when he started doing interviews, it wasn't even having a poor performance. It was more like the way he was doing his interviews, and I was like,
that dude crying.
the first interview when he talked about retiring early, I'm like, bro, you're not even you didn't do anything yet, and then he started, not having so great performances, but I I have to say Moses, bro. I would have to say him. I know you
I
say
agree with you.
Jalalev. So this is my problem with Jalalev. Like I've seen him live at a real fight. I've been watching him. It's about him. There are certain fighters, and this is my issue with him. People like him, I'm not sure how great he wants to be. You may think he could be that. As far as an amateur, he beat just about all of these guys that's new, right? Almost all of them, right? With that being said, you're still playing around with the amateur game. Where you I can't even put you in a conversation because when I saw you was making moves and then you went on a long period going back to the amateurs. And I'm like, what are you doing exactly? Because I know for a fact that all these top heavyweights right now, you beat most of them that's coming up in the amateurs already. But why would you go back to the amateurs? What exactly are you doing? So just like we criticized Jared Anderson by not really wanting to be in the game, and he's kind of seemed like to me he's doing it because he's just talented and he needs the money, but he doesn't really have the heart to do it. Shabalov, like, where are you going with this career of yours? Because you're just wasting time fighting in the amateurs. And I don't want to hear when you really decide that you want to be fighting at an elite level as a pro that you're no longer in your prime. Because that's what I just said about Triple G. I don't want to hear that shit later.
I
Right.
agree
So
100%.
for me, I can't
Yeah.
include him. Kermo Morton, somebody, Larry, just let that in the comments. I hear you. Damn, I missed the Nick game, Ralph. Yeah, I know it was on all this time, but this Crawford thing blew my mind, so I had to come up here and do this. But yo, Morton, I don't know, man. I'd be like, he's good, but like, I feel like I'm gonna just say because I know
He's a Tank wannabe.
exactly.
Yeah, I know. I know
Yo,
what you were going to say
the
before you
fact
said
that he looked like a younger Tank to me just drove me off, bro. Him being signed with Floyd, looking like Tank, right? I just feel like he's okay. Like he looks good, but I don't.
Yeah.
Like I
it.
mean, he maybe might be the next thing, but I don't watch his fights and be like, whoa,
Yeah.
that kid. When I see Moses fight, I'll be like, whoa. Every
I
time he
just want,
steps back in him, I'll be like, whoa. When I
I
see
just want to
Carmel
see
fight,
Moses get hit. I just want to see how Moses takes a shot from like a dude with heavy hands like Zhang. I want to see how he responds because I mean that Dillian White fight was. I mean Dillian, he looked terrible.
I like the fight before when he like sweep that hook while backing up and
Oh, that was
Balogun.
yeah,
Yeah,
that
the
was nice.
the
Yo,
guy fell
that
out.
shit,
I saw it. I saw it.
that
That
fight,
was nice.
every knockdown of that dude, I was like, I don't even watch the Dillian White fight. I go back to that Mike Balogun fight. And I know that guy is nothing. Like, I get it. But it's the ability. Why you're
Yeah,
that big? Why are you that big and moving like that? That don't make no
yeah,
sense to me.
real quick.
Yeah, like that kid is
Do, do you think
hit.
Do you think Moses Atama will find success with Ben Davison, or do you think he needs to kick him to the left?
Oh, that's a good question. You know, I'm not one to always just believe that if you from the States that it's necessarily good or you're gonna learn more here. I don't always believe that because I think
Yeah,
some of the trainers here are a little bit overrated too.
Me
Um,
too.
I do like what's his name over there though. I do like Ben, but I like I think I like what's his name, Andy.
Andy
Oh,
Lee.
Andy Lee.
Yo,
Hmm?
Wave, you right on point with me.
What
I
you
think the
say?
best trainer in the UK is Andy Lee.
Yeah, Andy
I think
Lee's
the
a
best
G.
Yeah,
trainer in the he's a crunk
I
gem
I
fighter.
like
He teaches balance. I think
yeah,
he's the
like
guy.
Andy Lee right now.
Yeah, I like.
First of all, if you know that dude could fight when he was a fighter. You
Yes,
know, like people look at his
Oh yeah,
losses and
he
all that.
yes,
Andy
he
Lee
can.
was yo, that dude
Problem.
was
yeah, he's
dangerous
nice.
until if you don't knock him out, he's dangerous through the whole fight
Yep,
Oh yeah,
because he turn a fight
because he
around
knows
with
how to
one
fight.
punch. Andy Lee right now, anybody that's trained by him, I notice, even win or lose, I noticed something different about him. And that's how I felt about Robert
Yeah.
Garcia for years. I'm like, every time, and we were going back and forth on this on Twitter today about Anthony Joshua. And
His
and
second fight with Usyk, with how he was a better
yeah,
version of himself. Yes, I know
yo,
exactly what you're saying. I know
yeah,
exactly what
bro.
you're saying.
Robert
that's
Garcia,
true.
like, yo, the
He
chemistry
got
and
him on point.
yeah, like whatever issues y'all had, whatever issue y'all had, I noticed a difference. And let me tell
Hmm.
you, you look way better with Robert Garcia than you look with Derrick James.
Yes,
Oh yeah, Derrick James is
yes.
overrated to me.
Derrick, when you were with this guy for that one fight, in your defeat, you can make the argument that that was the best AJ you
Best
ever
Anthony
saw.
Joshua you ever seen. Yeah. Yo,
He
yo,
gave me,
Wave, you.
bro, he gave me every version of AJ I wanted to see in one fight. He gave me
Right.
Mhm.
old school Dillian White. I'm walking you down. I'm gonna beat your ass, AJ. He's giving you body. He's giving you feinting. He's giving you movement. His hands is up, not like when
Yep.
he was fighting Triple D and circling when it's trying to be cool and pretty. No.
Yeah.
Nah. He gave you every version of AJ in one fight, and unfortunately, the chemistry wasn't right. But I mean, that was the best version of AJ I saw
And
to
he
the
didn't even get tired. He went the distance and he
nah,
wasn't
bro.
breathing heavy or nothing.
That's a Usyk said that was his toughest fight. Still,
Wow. Wow.
That's crazy.
yeah.
That
Like,
Usyk
come
said
on.
that.
Like,
That's crazy.
at the end
We
of the
all
day,
saw that though, but that is
yeah,
crazy.
I want to see a fighter look different when they're with you. And Andy Lee, right now, out of the new people that's coaching, I mean, he's that
Yeah, I
guy.
like.
He's that guy
I
right.
remember hearing a story when Andy Lee was first taken to the Kronk gym. They thought they could intimidate him because he was a white dude, and he was like, "Hey, what's up?" Like he wasn't backing down from none of the Kronk fighters. So Emmanuel was like, "Oh, I got something here."
Nah, listen, what he's over there doing with Joseph Parker, I mean, yeah, he lost recently, but I'm noticing the dude, he looked better in his defeat in his
He
most
sure
recent
did.
wins than Joseph Parker ever did in his
I
career.
agree.
Mhm.
He was
Yes,
throwing like
and
4 hooks
I
at a
was
time. I never
screaming.
seen Parker do that.
Facts. Like,
I
so
was screaming for years for Joseph Parker to get away from Kevin Barry because it
yeah.
was just
Yeah.
nothing
Oh,
going
Kevin
on.
Barry is
It's
back
yo,
too.
it's like a
Oh my
guy.
God.
You just like in a box and you have so much more ability, but for whatever you're like in a cage.
Right.
Hmm.
Like I
Hmm.
watched Parker and a little bit of Parker and Joshua the other day because I'm like, I was doing some bullshit film study because of this
Yeah, you're
big fall man.
looking, just
This
looking
to
up. Oh, I know
this
what
to
you
do
mean.
it.
I was
And
watching that too.
yeah. And
Yeah, that's
Parker
what I'm
just be
talking about.
like throwing a jab, but it's like, what are you doing, bro? Like, what do
You can
you know
follow
you're
up.
fast, but do something with it. You're
You're
not
right.
doing nothing. Like Andy Ruiz, he got fast hands, but he's doing something with his hand. Joseph
Yeah, he
Parker
throws
just
down.
like I'm quick.
Yeah.
Like, yo, do something. You know,
Yeah.
there was no intent in his style before. Andy
Hmm.
Yeah.
Lee, and you know what? I
I
was gonna
agree
say
with
this
that.
in the maybe I did say it in a breakdown with Jake Paul. Sometimes it's just mental. Sometimes you got the ability. You just need a coach that's gonna make you believe in what you're able to do.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
100%.
100%.
Yeah. He
Yeah.
said he
100%.
was bored with the sport until Andy Lee came along. He said he was kind of like basically just doing it to make a living, and then Andy Lee made it fun for him.
Yeah, no, sometimes, I think that's what Ben Davison needed to do. I think it went a little bit to AJ's head in the Triple D fight,
Yeah,
but
it did.
I think sometimes you just need a coach that can make you believe. And I heard Ben Davison say that. I don't know if it was Ben or AJ himself, but I remember hearing like an interview and they were like, you know, you're this big guy, like, big muscular guy with a lot of power. You should be fighting that way. You got to make a fighter believe like
Yeah.
Yeah.
sometimes that, you're not
Yeah.
just a coach and you're not just training, but you gotta, you're
Motivational
also
teacher. Yeah.
mentally, you gotta be there as a
So
uh
true.
like a therapist. Like to me, like that's the way it
Yeah.
need to be.
You know what you're saying is 100% true because Emmanuel Stewart used to do that with Lennox Lewis. Like if they were on a show, he would say stuff in front of Lewis, and I could tell he was trying to build up his confidence, like saying how big and strong he is, and he
Mhm.
would say things deliberately in Lewis's hearing, so he would like trying to make him because he used to hate that he played chess. He was trying to make him more of a like aggressive fighter. So
Mhm.
what you're saying is 100% accurate. Some of these trainers need to be teachers and not just hey go do your road work, go do 50 jumping jacks. They need to You know,
That
especially heavyweights. Heavyweights are big, but a lot of them got fragile minds. You know, so yeah, that's what you said is 100% accurate.
but look at that's what Teddy Alice. That's him. Yo, this
Yeah,
fighter
too.
could be getting his ass
Yeah.
kicked.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's in the corner screaming at, "What are you doing?"
yeah.
Like he's like a drill sergeant. Like, you know what I'm saying?
I,
Like,
I like
you know,
Teddy.
yeah, like he's like the freaking dude from Full Metal Jacket.
Yeah, drill
He's
sergeant.
All right.
yo, Teddy like Major Pain, bro.
I know, right?
That's like,
Hey, Wave, if you ever get a chance, check out Teddy's audio book, man. That was one of the best audio books I ever heard.
yeah, nah, I will look it up. Like Teddy, yo, his fighter might be getting destroyed. But
I
Teddy,
know we don't want to agree to this. We don't want to accept this or admit this, but I think Joshua is a better fighter now that he took a loss. I think Joshua, he needed that relief valve. He needed that valve to release from all of the pent up, the undefeated, all of that foolishness.
Right.
Because I'm a big Joshua fan. Um,
Me too.
I think he needed that loss, even the knockout with Daniel Dubois. I think that's
Yeah,
going to help him knock out Fury. I always thought he was going to knock out Fury. I always thought Anthony Joshua would defeat Fury. Uh, um,
I do
I think
too. I
he
think
still
so
will.
too.
I think he still will defeat Fury, but I think he needed all of this shit that's happening now, all of this shit before it. I think Joshua needs it in order to walk into that ring completely released of pressure and just
Yeah,
fight. Because I think if Joshua just fights Fury, he will knock him out. I think within 6 rounds, he'll knock out Fury. I don't think Fury is got nothing on Anthony Joshua. I think Joshua will knock him out. I know Fury got all the games and all the tricks and all the foolishness, but I think Anthony Joshua will beat Fury. It was Hatman. Hatman said that Wilder would beat Joshua, Fury will beat Wilder, but Joshua will beat Fury. I don't think that Wilder will even beat Joshua. I don't even think Wilder would beat Joshua. I think if Wilder and Joshua fought in their prime, I think Joshua would knock out Wilder. But
yeah.
I
Said
believe
that.
that Joshua will always knock out Fury. I think it's a style matchup. I think Joshua will always knock out Fury. I don't think Fury is
well,
that good when it comes to a big man that throws hands with power in both hands. I think Joshua will always knock out Fury.
what I
Tell me
will
what
say
y'all
is
think.
that I don't think I think the problem with Joshua is what version you're gonna get on that night.
Yes, you're correct.
And I
You're
don't
correct.
mean about ability, and I said
Mental.
this,
Mental. Mental, just
yeah,
mental.
like I I said this, that breakdown I did with Jake Paul, I did very little about talking about the actual fight.
Yep.
I'm talking about AJ, his career, why he looked like this in this fight,
Right.
and then look like this in this fight 3 fights later. And I'm like,
Yeah, I know
bro,
what you're
Mindset.
breaking
I
down.
know what you can do. Why are you
Yeah.
taking this approach in this fight? And that's why I hate the Triple D fight. I hate that fight.
Yeah,
I
that
hate that
fight
fight.
angry.
I
That
hate
What
fight
that
did
actually
you
fight.
made me
what are you
angry.
doing, bro? You're way better than that
You're
first knockdown.
wilding.
And
You're
he
wilding.
never recovered from that first knockdown. He never
He
Yeah,
looked
recovered from that. That
fought
first
before
knockdown
the
was
fight.
the stupidest knockdown I had to say from an elite fighter.
yeah.
Right.
It was. I mean, it was. You know
You
what
know?
I,
really bothers me about AJ? You know what really bothers me? The Andy Ruiz first fight. He walked in there and he set it on Andy Ruiz, and he's the first and only person. Well, now not the only person now, but the first person at that time and the only person at the time to knock down Andy Ruiz. He knocked down Andy Ruiz with a left hook, and
yeah.
nobody really acknowledges that. But Andy Ruiz was never knocked down to that entire point in his entire career. Like,
Yeah, that's
what were you
true.
like? You razor sharp, you're good in so many ways, and then you make these stupid mental
Yeah, I
lapses
don't
that
think
are
I don't think he's a good
ridiculous.
finisher, bro. I think got to remember, because I went to both fights, and remember the hype. Wilder had just knocked out Dominic Brazil in that first round.
Yep. So he
Yeah.
was
You
trying
know
to
where I'm going
compensate.
with it.
Yeah.
Comes over here. He's in the first time in America, and he's at the Garden. He wants to
Mhm.
show out over here. He
Yeah.
gets this guy down and totally throws his game plan off. I want to get a knockout of Andy Ruiz right now, and totally forgot that you are also fighting an elite fighter that has nothing to
Exactly.
lose.
A monster.
Exactly.
Andy
Yeah,
Ruiz is an
he got
elite
too
fighter.
comfortable before the fight. When I seen them let Andy hold his belts,
Oh
That
yeah.
was it. That was it.
everybody was going into
Doing it.
all this Joey DeVecco stuff. I didn't go there with it. I said, all right, well, you know what? Maybe that did happen. But at the end of the day, a fight is a fight. And guys get knocked out and dropped in sparring all the time. But you were
Yeah.
too comfortable because Andy, he wants
I
what you
agree.
got. And you're looking at him like, hey, look, here's
Like
here's
he's
my
a
belts.
playmate.
Touch them. Yeah. No.
He ain't
That
no
dude
playmate.
would
He's
take
an
you out
enemy.
the first chance he gets.
Yep.
Right.
And he did, you know.
Ye-
So AJ to me, it's never been about ability because I've seen him fight way too many different styles in one fight. That guy actually, that guy, if he wanted to, he could actually. I've seen him fight so many different styles that
Yeah.
he can actually adjust per opponent if he knew how to do it in a live fight because he fought
Round by
so many
round.
different ways with
Yeah.
Correct.
different trainers, but he doesn't know how to put it together in real time. He's not the greatest at that. He's the greatest for prepping for that specific fights, but the super elites know how to adjust right there. And he's
Yep.
done it, but not
Yeah.
consistently
Correct.
to me.
And I'm one of the few people that actually think he looked pretty great in the rematch with Ruiz because he kind of gave him a boxing clinic. He like cut him in the first round. He just didn't really go in for the kill, but he was trying to show like, I can outbox this dude because people are like, oh, he gets gassed and he can't go the distance. So I don't think he was trying to even knock out Ruiz that fight. I think he was just trying to show, look, I can do my Ali act if I want to and just box circles around this dude. And granted, Ruiz came in at like 280 something, so that didn't help Ruiz's cause. But I don't think AJ gets enough credit for beating Ruiz in that second fight without. I don't think he had a tune-up. He just went right back at it and beat the dude. That's a lot of mental
I
stress
don't
on a
think
fighter to just fight a guy.
I don't think
Yeah.
he
But
gets enough credit for the real deal for the turn on, because AJ can fight a lot of different styles, like Wave said, because he's correct 100%. But I don't think he gets a lot of credit for the 11th round in the Klitschko fight. The 11th round in the
oh,
Klitschko fight, he
facts.
was completely turned on
Right.
out of nowhere. Just click of his heels, he just turned on and knocked Klitschko out. That
True.
shit is beautiful. If AJ could get back to that, that's a monstrous. He did
Yeah.
it in the Dylan White fight. He did it in with the Charles Martin fight. When he turns on for real, and he becomes an offensive powerhouse that knows what
Yeah.
he's doing, that's confident in what he's doing, AJ is better than almost every fighter in the heavyweight division. The only person he couldn't nail down is obviously Usyk, but everybody else he wins the fight against.
Yeah.
Anthony
Yeah.
Joshua is a very good fighter, man. He's a very good fighter. He
No, he
has
is.
this
He,
problem in his
he,
head, but that's the foolishness. But other
Yeah.
than that, this motherfucker could hurt you bad. And Jake
yeah.
Paul about to find out all about it.
He
Yeah.
looked like a killer in the Otto Wallin fight too. It looked like AJ's back the way
Oh
he was
yeah,
like. Wallin looked scared. He looked terrified.
because he turned on. Because AJ, once AJ turned on, his accuracy, speed, and power is already there. So when he does turn on, there's a problem. I can tell you who else looks scared. Daniel Dubois. Daniel Dubois looked real scared when he turned on. Game the ball was
Oh
like
yeah, right
scared to
before the
death.
stoppage. Yeah, when AJ kind of caught him.
Yeah, he was
Yeah,
scared to death. He got
yeah,
caught when
I
some
saw
stupid
that.
shit, but Game the ball backed up like, oh shit.
Yeah,
I
I
didn't see
saw
this
that
coming.
too.
Well, I mean, at that point he was actually hurt, though. I wouldn't call it scared because even though he was hurt, he got caught with a good shot. But when he backed up, to give him time to recover, he recovered really, really quick. And
Yeah,
before the
He did.
knockout
He
punch,
did.
there was a punch he landed before that. So he was aware of what was going on. Yes, he was hurt, but he was
yeah.
still very, very aware of what's going on. Guys, I gotta cut it short, man. I gotta get out of here. I gotta go to work tomorrow.
Yeah, me too. Me too. All
Listen,
right, man.
I
Have a good
appreciate you guys coming
wait.
through,
I
man.
appreciate you.
Yeah, nah, it was a great chat. And you know what? I'm doing this more often, more now than ever. So, we will be back on here. Um, but yeah, I'll be here Friday on the live for the Jake Paul thing, but we'll be
That's
talking
what's
other
up.
boxing too as well. So if you guys, want to come back on the next live, I appreciate you guys to join up anytime. It was a
Oh, for
pleasure.
sure.
And yeah, have a good night, man.
Hey, same to you, man.
All right.
Thanks for having us on.
Yeah, no
Yeah, thanks
problem.
for having us
Anytime, man.
on, man.
Appreciate you
Respect to
guys.
you,
Have a good
brother.
night.
One.
Later. All right, guys. Listen, I hope you enjoyed the video today. And I know the first hour is all Crawford. Everything else was pretty much just us chatting about boxing. But I guess to close it out, I think I pretty much said everything I needed to say. I just want to thank Terence Crawford personally just for giving us the experience of watching him fight and giving us some classic moments. It definitely helped grow my channel um, as far as my following, and it also made me learn a lot about the sport because on my free time, like I said earlier, I like to study just Crawford and just what he do because he's so versatile. All right. He will be missed, if he's gonna be retired like for good. I don't know. We just gotta wait and see. But in my opinion, um, he doesn't need this. I just think he should retire. I also think Pacquiao should just leave it alone, and Floyd should just leave it alone. Mike Tyson and Roy and all these other guys that do these exhibitions, just leave it alone. Um, you are solidified. Like you are an all-time great, and your name can easily be mentioned with anybody's name in the sport. What you accomplished and what you've done. Yeah, I wish it was appreciated earlier, but there are people like myself that was watching the whole time and saw the skills and talent and I was there for the whole ride, um and I'm glad I was there. I'm glad I was even able to make content on the guy, you know anyway, man, peace, Terence Crawford. Look forward to seeing what you do next, past boxing. And again, thank you guys for being here, um, and coming through and showing your love and comments. I'm gonna go back and read the comments. Please, if you are new, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification as well, so you'll be alerted whenever I drop new content. And please also hit the thumbs up, smash the like button, hit the thumbs up on your way out. All right. Y'all have a good night. Happy holidays. And I will see you guys on the next one. Peace.